Hey guys, how are you? David DeFranco here from daviddefranco.com with my much anticipated review of the Quantum View QS-1035 Windows 8.1 tablet. This tablet is basically an affordable entry into the world of Windows 8 with the convenience of both a tablet and desktop-like experience. Okay, so before we get into the pros and cons, I just want to run down some basic specs. The QS-1035 uses an Intel Bay Trail T quad-core 1.5 GHz processor with 2 GB of DDR3 RAM and finally 32 GB of storage. It has plenty of I/O including 3.5mm headphones, mini HDMI, micro SD, micro USB 2.0, and 9V DC power. Now it does include a 10.1-inch touchscreen with a resolution of 1280 by 800, which is just above 720p. So yeah, this means you're technically getting HD resolution out of this tablet. And last but not least, in terms of wireless connectivity, it uses Wi-Fi 802.11a, b, g, and n, as well as Bluetooth 4.0. Now this tablet is huge with me because it's my first real entry into the Windows 8 experience in terms of using it on a touchscreen. Because I have previously used Windows 8 on a desktop PC, which I actually do own. Some people don't realize that. I mean, I may be an Apple fanboy here and there, but I do appreciate Windows 8 for what it is. So needless to say, I was really honored when I was contacted to review this tablet. Okay, enough of that blabbering. Let's get into the pros and cons. Starting out with the pros, and this is probably the most important thing I have to say in this video besides the price, is that this product allows me to experience Windows 8 as it was designed to be experienced. Meaning from the convenience of a touchscreen and a keyboard. Yes, a physical keyboard is actually included with this tablet, which in my opinion makes it a little more user-friendly to those, I don't want to say scared, they're a bit skeptical about going from an experience like Windows 7 to Windows 8. It's just really nice that the keyboard is included with this tablet, and it is fully removable, meaning you do have the convenience of literally just pulling the tablet off the keyboard and going about your business. But of course, if you would rather use this tablet as if it was a notebook, then you can do just that. Snap the tablet back into the keyboard, and boom, you're done. Now, talking about the actual build quality of the QS-1035, I gotta say, I was pretty impressed. It's fairly solid, it doesn't feel cheap, especially considering the price tag, and if anything, it felt very similar to the Kindle Fire. So if you have used the Kindle Fire, then you'll pretty much know how this tablet feels. It's just obviously much bigger. Now the QS-1035 does include 2 cameras, which is a nice surprise because I didn't really give that much thought. And well, the back camera is 2 megapixels, which isn't insane, but it's enough to get the job done. And the front-facing camera, honestly, I have no idea. I looked everywhere for the resolution of this camera and I just could not find it. But with that said, it's an okay camera. I mean, you're really not going to be using this that much for, video conference calls or anything like that. But I guess it is good enough if you have to use it. Now, as I mentioned before, the magnetic keyboard is a great addition to this tablet, and it's actually one of my favorite features about this tablet, and it works very well. It doesn't feel too cheap. It's a full-fledged keyboard, and it basically feels like you're using an actual notebook, but again, with the convenience of pulling this off the keyboard and using it as a tablet. And guys, I gotta say, that is something I really did appreciate very much. Now this next pro I want to talk about is something I didn't really expect to experience, and that's the fact that this tablet actually offers a pretty decent gaming experience, at least from a touchscreen perspective. Okay, so I made a video about this topic in the past, so I'm not really going to talk about it too much, so I just encourage you to check that out right below in the video description. I just don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you do love games, I highly do encourage you to watch that video. Now, speaking in terms of performance, this tablet does offer a quad-core 1.5 GHz processor, which is plenty for this kind of product. I mean, let's face it, we're not going to be doing Photoshop on here. We're not really going to be doing video editing, but it is just fine for web browsing, some basic gaming, and things like that. But I will say performance was better within the touchscreen interface of Windows 8 versus the desktop version of Windows 8. Because in my eyes, at the end of the day, this is a Windows 8 tablet. The desktop-like experience of Windows 8 on this tablet is purely secondary and a bonus. And well, if anything, this is an extremely affordable notebook. I mean, if you have a tight budget on what you're looking to spend for maybe college or some basic word processing, then I can definitely recommend this tablet. I mean, it's an incredibly cheap price tag, which I'll give details about later, and it's just something I think you should consider. And well, if you need some backup to this claim, just go to Amazon and check out the user reviews. They're mostly positive. And finally, the last thing I want to touch upon in terms of my pros is the speakers on this tablet were actually surprisingly loud. I mean, don't expect like room thumping sound quality, but for gaming, the speakers perform just fine. Okay, so as much as I enjoyed this tablet, obviously there are a few cons that I need to mention. So let's jump right into that portion of this review. The first con I want to say, and this might not apply to everyone because I'm definitely kind of a pixel freak, is, well, the low resolution screen didn't really impress me all that much. I mean, it looks great for gaming and watching videos, but when you're reading text up close or just web browsing in general, you will definitely notice the screen resolution on this display isn't that great. Now, true, it does offer a resolution of 1280 by 800, which is technically HD resolution, but if you're someone like me who really appreciates pixel density and resolutions in general, then you might be disappointed in this display. But again, for gaming and watching videos, it actually looked great. And speaking of gaming, that actually falls into my next con. Obviously, gaming overall was really good on this. I was pleasantly surprised. But I will say, and this goes for most tablets actually, when you're doing some heavy processing work or just gaming in general or watching videos, you will notice a tablet does get quite warm. And it's always on the left side right around here, which I'm guessing that's where the processor is located. Now, this is not a deal breaker at all. This does not make me not want to use a tablet, because believe me, I use products that get far hotter. And while saying that, always makes me think of my 17-inch PowerBook G4. Now, yeah, I mean, that's an actual notebook computer, but that thing, it burns. Now, let's talk battery life. The manufacturer claims you will get 8 hours out of this tablet, which I think is pretty fair. But for my own usage, I gotta say maybe I got 5 to 7 hours of battery usage. But keep in mind, I did use this a lot for gaming, especially for Xbox games on Windows, including Rayman Jungle Run. And then soon I might check out Halo Spartan Assault. I mean, I already have that on Xbox One, but still, I'm interested to see how it performs on a tablet. But anyway, you'll definitely want to keep that in mind. They do claim 8 hours. I maybe got 5 to 7 hours. But of course, this will vary depending on your usage. I mean, if you're just doing email and social media and web browsing, battery life is not going to be bad at all. And now, wrapping up my list of cons, this is one thing I want to mention. This might not be the same for everyone, but whenever I were to close my keyboard case, which, yes, does act as a case, as so, you just kind of close it, lock it up with this little magnetic latch, which is actually very nice. But sometimes, if I were to put it on the dock, like so, close it up, now this doesn't happen every time, there you go, I would open it up and the tablet would be on again. And now, obviously, as you can see, it's not happening at this moment in time, but the tablet would basically inadvertently hit one of the trackpad buttons, waking up the tablet and draining down my battery life. I looked everywhere in the Windows 8 settings and even the Windows 7 portion of Windows 8, and I just couldn't find the setting on how to deactivate this button, or one of them at least. So with that said, if anyone has a tip, please let me know right below in the comments. Okay, so now that my pros and cons are done, what is my final verdict on the Quantum View QS-1035 Windows 8.1 tablet? And by the way, when I say Windows 8.1, you will have to install that yourself, because this actually shipped with Windows 8. Not a huge deal at all. If anything, it gives you the excitement of updating the OS. At least it was fairly exciting to me. Anyway, that's just a tidbit of info that I wanted to throw in there real quick. Okay, so the final verdict of this tablet, what do I think? Well, I will say this. The pros easily outweigh the cons because of the price tag alone. As of this video, you can actually get this tablet and notebook, I should say, it's technically both, for less than $350 on Amazon. Yes, less than $350. You're getting the convenience of both a tablet-like experience with Windows 8, as well as a notebook/desktop-like experience with Windows 8. And I cannot stress this enough. This is how Windows 8 is intended to be used. Because guys, before this tablet came into my life, I used Windows 8 only on a desktop. And it was okay. It just didn't make much sense using a mouse to navigate through those big tiles. But when you're actually touching the tiles within Windows 8, you have a completely different outlook on the OS. And I just gotta give props to the manufacturer of this. I mean, they just did a great job at offering a fairly awesome product for less than $350. And I'm just really stressing that because I don't think you're gonna find anything cheaper, especially considering the keyboard dock / case is included. And that's easily my biggest selling point right there. So if you're looking for a good Windows 8 experience and you're not looking to spend that much money, definitely look into this product. It's great for touchscreen usage, it's great for notebook usage, and it's a decent computer overall. The fact of the matter is this, guys.
It's 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. It's 1 o'clock. You're not going to find anything better for the price. And I mean that. You're not going to find anything better. Oh, and one more thing. I promise this is the last thing I want to talk about. If you're looking for a great starter Windows 8 computer, look into this. I mean, this is a great starter computer for students or maybe even children if they're looking to experience computing in general and learn how to web browse. I was going to say learn social media, but I don't know if little kids should be on social media just yet, unless they're interacting with their family on Facebook. Just my opinion. And some basic gaming here and there. And finally, last but not least, Quantum Supplier, thank you so much for sending this tablet for review. And of course, thank you to you guys as well for watching this video. I really enjoyed it. And as expected, reviewing a tablet is not exactly easy because there's so much to say. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to post them right below. I'm always happy to reply. So thank you guys, your support is awesome, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.